most people don't think of is our lake.
Mm-hmm.
Just how beautiful it is. The city has done a wonderful job putting the boardwalk in out at City Park.
Hello and welcome to the GBC. I am your host, Nash Colberg. Today we have the honor of speaking with Lynn, the general manager at the Hampton. It's nice to have you on.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. If you could start with describing what the bid is and how that partnership works with Visit Watertown.
Right. Okay. So the Business Improvement District is a part of the city that was started many years ago by a gentleman who was a hotel owner who implemented a $2 a night per room tax for each hotel room that was inside the city limits of Watertown. And with that money, it's put into a special coffer at City Hall. And we are to use that money to try to award bids, or excuse me, events and special tournaments and that sort of thing to come to Watertown. Our kind of catchphrase that we like to use when people come to us for money is, will your event put heads in beds?
Mm-hmm.
And that is the sole purpose of the money. It's in our bylaws that we can't use it for storefronts. We can't use it for brick and mortar. It has to be used for events to bring people to Watertown. And by doing that, we're not only collecting an additional $2 a night tax per room, but we also see those people are going out to eat, they're buying gas, hopefully doing some shopping, and other revenue is generated for the city.
What are some specific ways you've seen that impact, your hotel?
Especially weekends, the new hockey arena in Watertown, I think will be a huge draw. Watertown, unfortunately, is not a destination unless there's a purpose or a reason to come here. So other cities have destination places. The Redland Center is and always has been a great destination for Watertown, but when you've been there and done that, people are looking for new reasons to go different places. So by us having the monies to help buy tournaments and help buy conventions, that brings people to Watertown that wouldn't otherwise come. So that's what our purpose of the bid board is to bring you here if you weren't going to otherwise come. And that's how we generate revenue. Friday and Saturday nights in a hotel, I know when I started 14 years ago, I thought those were going to be the busiest nights.
Right.
Because that's when I traveled.
Right.
There's not a lot of leisure in Watertown unless you have a reason to come here. So if you're coming for a wedding or a concert or our events that we try to help sponsor would be any and all sporting tournaments that will bring people from a distance that will stay overnight. So we've had to disappoint a few people who come in and ask us for money because it's a local event. So
Right.
our money is exclusively used for the purpose of bringing people to stay overnight.
How have you seen the hotel industry and Watertown change over those 14 years?
Oh, wow. The biggest change, of course, happened during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
The property owner that I work for has 40 other hotels. Our market was probably the least impacted by COVID because at the time we had a huge wind energy project happening in Watertown. So we didn't see a huge decline like other hotels did. It's funny you'd ask me this question today because I had this conversation yesterday with my revenue manager, and he said, your business is very consistent. It hasn't changed a lot over the years. Your weekdays are very consistently sold out with your business travelers, and your weekends are busy if there's event happening in Watertown. So it hasn't, other than those 2 years that were severely impacted by COVID, I've not seen a big change in my business, but then we are a franchise and we have a name that people follow. I think some of the smaller hotels that are mom and pop hotels may be able to answer that differently because their business may change, but
Sure.
Ours has remained. Of course, rates have changed that we've seen. As far as our mix of business has been pretty consistent
Okay.
over those years.
What are some challenges that might be specific to, you guys, and how do you overcome those?
Well, my biggest challenge as a general manager in the hotel industry is filling shoulder nights, which would be Thursday and Sunday night. Our business travelers are going home on Thursday. Our leisure travelers don't check in until Friday. They leave on Sunday. Most business travelers don't arrive in the city until Monday. So they're always considered our shoulder nights, which are the hardest to fill. Um, that's my biggest challenge. We have been fortunate recently with labor. We have, a few spots that we could fill, but the departments that are difficult to fill have always been difficult to fill. But we're pretty fortunate in our challenges. We have the same challenges as most properties do with those shoulder nights, but otherwise, we're I'd say we're good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You have won awards, specifically your hotel here in Watertown. What does that say about you guys, and how do you achieve that level?
That would probably be a better question for my staff. Um, for when I was hired 14 years ago, the person who was training me told me the best piece of advice he could give me is to treat every single day like Hilton is coming to town and they're going to inspect your property. And if you do it right every day, you don't have to worry about what you're doing right or wrong. So that's kind of how I started leading my property that many years ago. And another thing that I think is very, very important for key to success is to hold weekly manager meetings. So when you have a staff, my staff runs around 30 people, you're going to have differences of opinion. Most of the time, those differences of opinion come down to miscommunication. I thought you said this. I heard you say this. To get the key core management staff in the same room at the same time to completely understand what the other department meant by what they were saying, to make sure the front desk team is telling housekeeping what, like we've had a lot of guests ask for this in the rooms, have housekeeping say to the front desk, we need this to happen. Just open communication. And I kind of, we set the bar pretty high. So when we have new staff come in, if you're just consistent with what your expectations are, I find it very easy. And probably the biggest thing is accountability.
Okay.
It's comes very easy to me because I really love the business.
Cool. What is it about the business that you love?
The people, the challenge, 2 days are the same in the hotel industry. When I was invited to this interview today, when they asked if I was free, my answer was consistent as of right this moment I am, because you never know what's going to happen
Right.
in a hotel. The industry is ever changing from day to day. The same things are due, payrolls due, and those sorts of things that have to be done in a certain time frame, but your day-to-day challenges change
Right.
every single day. Technology is a big part of that change, but we're keeping up.
And what would you say, what kinds of tourism, we've kind of, you've touched on it a little bit, these events and stuff, but what kind of tourism maybe surprises you that Watertown sees, if there's anything that kind of jumps out?
My biggest surprise recently is with the new hockey arena. Watertown has its own local team, the Shamrocks. Division, I mean, it's not a very high division because, of course, they just started. I was surprised we unexpectedly sold out on Saturday night due to the Shamrocks playing an Aberdeen team.
Yeah.
Usually our system is really good at predicting whether or not we'll be sold out, so we can, it sees pickup. but that was all same day walk-ins.
Wow.
So that has been, I didn't expect that. I expected it if high school teams were playing or junior peewees were playing. I expected to see that kind of pick up, but for our local team to see that kind of crowd at such an early stage
Yeah.
in their careers, that was very unexpected for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And lastly, why Watertown?
Why Watertown? Oh, that's a really good question. That's a hard question. I think Watertown is a great place to come. The first thing that would come to my mind that I think most people don't think of is our lake. Just how beautiful it is. The city has done a wonderful job putting the boardwalk in out at City Park. There's the Veterans Memorial out there. To send people out there who are here for a few days working, they'll then later bring their families back to see Watertown. The food is good. You know, we've got Dempsey's Brewery here. He's gone all over the world and won awards with his pizzas. We've got some other good places that people come to see. Redland Art Center is always a great one. People who were there years ago are now coming back. I think our zoo is great. So maybe a little bit for everyone is why you should come to Watertown.
Cool. Well, we want to thank you, Lynn, for coming on. And if there'll be more information below on how to get, in contact with them and visit Watertown. So thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect.